Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paolo Scarabelli. I'm Associate Senior Consultant at ARC Europe. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session on machine building at the strategic crossroads. I'm delighted to be here with a number of experts and representatives from leading organizations. Gianpaolo Crasta, General Director from Uchima. Stefano Flore, Manager Automation Packaging Equipment at Tetra Pak. Riccardo Necchi, Independent Executive Advisor, former executive at Vanderwiele, SIPA and SIDEL. And finally, Thomas Menthe, Senior Consultant European Operation from ARC Europe. This ARC webinar is a part of ARC webinar sequence focusing on machine building industry. And we are populating the calendar from now to next year ARC Forum in May 2027. Topics that we will address further are compliance, business model evolution, digital twin as lifecycle backbone for equipment, and machine intelligence and autonomy. But let's reflect a little bit on what was the findings that we had during the last ARC Forum at the beginning of May, Sitges in Spain. And let's start with Thomas. Thomas, what was the ARC European Forum about? And what were the key topics of the overall event? Can you tell us more?
Yes, of course, my pleasure. Let us start with what ARC Advisory Europe really does, because we are here in a nutshell to help customers to navigate, let's say, to the complex world of new technologies and make them ready for the future. And having said that, we have three objectives where we're focusing ourselves. That is market research and analytics. That is strategic consulting. That is maybe the reason why we are here. And we organize events and conferences. And coming to the events and conferences, now we can slip into our last conference held in May in Spain. And the core objective there was really to bring together industrial leaders, technology providers, and users to discuss around these latest trends regarding digital transformation, industrial automation, and operational excellence. And one specific task then was, of course, the machine building industry. And we slipped a little bit into exploring digital transformation strategies. We highlighted and described industrial automation innovations. Example is MTP, modular type packaging. Then the big topic of cybersecurity in OT and IT environments. And last but not least, but this is really important, facilitating networking during the conference and knowledge sharing between the visitors. So, Paolo, in a nutshell, that's what we offer. That's what we did in May.
Very good. Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, now I have a question to you, because you were first time on this ARC forum and your background is really packaging industry, packaging machine. So what was your takeaway on this forum? So what was your impression?
Yeah, thank you, Thomas, for the question here. I think it was, really interesting for me to be a part of. I think, I value very much, the quality of the topics, many, very nice, interesting participants, and also the formula, which is really facilitating networking because, in many cases, really to grow together. But, if I'm really focusing on the machine building session, giving you what were the key insights that we have had there, I have a few of them. First of all, what is happening right now is not an incremental change. It's a fundamental movement of the industry. For decades, for many years, machine building was very much, focusing on mechanical excellence, automation performance, and, capacity increase, to mention one. But today, this is not, anymore the case. The real shift is towards delivering outcomes Measurable improvement like uptime, quality, productivity, or securing operational cost. And this is changing everything. It means that the machine itself is not anymore, or is not only the only center of value. Value is created by the intelligence that we build around machine. So software, data, the ability to continuously improve over time, meaning taking care longer, not just the equipment says. One of the very interesting or most powerful insight that we got, during the session in one of the presentation, it was that, the biggest source of inefficiency in today's, manufacturing operation is not anymore the machine. Actually, it is the gap between the machine and the human operating it. One of the key insight was that, these machines they are not really the bottleneck for, in terms of machine failure, they are very reliable. Instead, there are many, losses in operator errors, setup, mistakes, preparation issue, maybe it's complex also, for some of the people, which is very much also connected to the knowledge of the personnel that we have at the factory floor. That's why, we see more and more the rise of operator-centric system, machine that guide and assist human in real time. And this is, very much also, as I said, connected to competencies declining. So the machine, we see that is becoming a kind of cornerstone as an intelligent assistant, on the shop floor. This was one of the element. Another is very much related to technology like digital twin, which are really redefining the way that we look at the life cycle of the equipment. So they are not only used in one specific areas of the life cycle, like simulation or commissioning, but they are really covering end to end. So from conceptual development to product development, simulation, training, when you do commissioning, so entering into operation, but also when you have continuous improvement loop. So they allow machine builder to be faster, reduce risk, and create ultimately machine which can evolve over time on this one. So this was another important one, but there are a few other elements which came out. One, I would say, is very much connected to a word, which I would say is trust. With increasing connectivity, which is basically today a must-have, there is an increased responsibility. Cybersecurity, compliance and transparency are no longer optional. They are becoming a sort of license to operate in this new environment. So if you take all this and you, look a little bit, set back and look at the, at the picture, you see that the machine is becoming, something very different. It's not anymore a static piece of equipment. It's becoming, a node, an element of a connected, intelligent, and secure and evolving system. So very similar also that we have seen in other industry. If you take, the digital device that you have in your pocket, this is a little bit the shift that we have seen across the years. So, and that's why business model is changing, and we are moving from selling machine once to deliver performance over time. So the real question, I think, for machine builder that came out is not how do we build better machine. Is very much related how we deliver value across the life cycle. And so that's really the formula that we should see in this industry. So not only building once, but deliver value and sustainability over time. So that was, a little bit, some of the summary. But Thomas, we discussed also specifically, another topic which I mentioned a little bit was, which is related to machine builder are exposed to a number of compliance requirements. Can you talk about it? And, how should machine builder prioritize, their effort, considering, the complexity, but also what is the risk if they don't really, follow or they fall behind on this one?
Okay, to explain the risks, that is a little that makes maybe depressive. So let's start what's going on. And we had a tough discussion on the comparison of these old versus the new directives. And let me summarize in a nutshell. So the main features, if we are comparing the old versus the new regulation, is the legal format. So in the old directives, this was the 2006-42-EU. Sorry for these numbers, but they are officially. So the legal format has maybe national interpretation. So in some of the European countries, there were, let's say, different interpretation, different requirements. With the new regulation, the 2023-1230, we have one uniform layer in the EU, so no deviation in given countries. That is one aspect. The second one was, of course, regarding AI and software. A very hot topic. This wasn't covered in the old directive. Nothing was explicit how to protect AI and software specifically. And with the new regulations, this is now a core safety requirement. So if we are going to use AI, software we are going to use for sure, but if we are going to use one of these things, we have to have certain strategies how to protect them against external threats. And then maybe the biggest change on documentation, and I remember the forum, that was maybe the toughest discussion. So in the old directive, primarily everything was paper-based. Documentation was developed once, and this documentation folder came with the machine and maybe stays there forever. That's gone. Now we have digital requirement with the new regulation, and we have to really update this documentation over the life cycle of the machine. And this is really a challenge for the machine builders because that is additional administrative work. It's not rocket science, but it needs to be handled, because coming back to your question, what's happened if we are not compliant to the directives, and they are really tough fines up to 10 million euros for people in the company, for the C-level in the company, so they can be personally liable if they are really not comply to these directives. And to summarize that again, so we have the new machinery regulation, that is one important thing. Then we have the Cyber Resilience Act and the AI Act. And to answer your question regarding prioritization, you have to comply to all these three aspects at the same time. And the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking fast. From early 2027, the time is over to ignore this new regulation, 2023-1230. You have to comply with these directives if you are admitted to bring a CE mark on your machine. And that needs really preparation, that needs resources, and that is maybe the importance of, or the most important one, it needs understanding what's required. And in a nutshell, that's what we have discussed for, I think, 90 minutes during the forum and after the forum, during lunchtime, and so on and so on.
Now, thank you, Thomas. The picture is definitely, getting complex in some perspective, but maybe, this is also another side of the digital transformation, which is happening not only, in our industry, but overall, in all dimensions of life and businesses. Okay, very good. Let's move now to Gianpaolo from UCIMA, Association of Packaging Machine Industry. And the question, Gianpaolo, to you is, industrial machinery is evolving from physical asset into an intelligent, connected platform. How are machine design, data management, and manufacturing business model changing? And what challenges that this evolution is putting in terms of competitiveness, cybersecurity, or capability and technology around AI? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, thank you, Paolo. Good morning, everybody. Actually, it's a tough question. I'm not sure I'll be able to answer it shortly because we are talking about I think the most important competitive advantage that European machinery manufacturer may have in the next, I won't say years, but months. Let's say in regards to overseas competitors that are, as we know, increasing their technology level, after sales level, market presence, and also talking about China, the new quinquennial plan added special machines, which is machines we are talking about as a focus of development over the year. And they make, for instance, the plan makes, for instance, a specific reference to packaging machines. So this is another threat we have to watch out very carefully. So I think today we are not talking about technology because I would say even though we say that of course digitalization is one of the key topics and now i.e. robotic of course are new trends, but I would say that technology in these issues are taken for granted. Like companies are measuring data or taking data from the machine since years. So that now we have to understand which are the models or new business model to use this data that we are acquiring, or in theory, we have technologies to acquire them. So and of course you talk. We are talking about regulation, which could be an enabler in order to force, let's say, companies to make them compliance, and so use the technologies they have and make a good use of data. But we have been talking since many years about servitization, but I'm not sure that everyone knows what is servitization, how to use it, and how to implement it. So I usually say when I speak about this issue that conference about servitization are similar to, let's say, in Italy we say alcolisti anonimi, so like the meetings in which people who are trying to free themselves from a dependence speak about, because we are expert and we know what we are talking about, but maybe end users and all OEMs do not know what we are talking about. And most of them, and most of all, we still do not know the value that brand owners, co-packers give to data. So, and I think is linked to the value that the product they produce have. Like making it short, if a stop in a production line doesn't imply a very high loss in production, then maybe it's not important. OEM cannot manage to make pay for a machine as a service system, and this is linked also to the Asian competition, because we are comparing values that are so different that the client may not be keen in paying for a machine as a service that lasts many years if not needed. Another issue that should become a priority in all our agendas is the financial sustainability of let's say, machine as a service models, both on the OEM side, because now you sell a machine, you get paid, and you keep running your companies. If now you have to make all investment for producing a machine and then you'll get paid over the years, maybe it's not a problem for big companies. could it be for SMEs? And we know European is full of SMEs, and Italy in particular. And the other issue is that all the measures that institution give to ensure credits when you sell a machine. So who's gonna take the risk in this case? So this is something that institution companies should rise in with banking institution, public institution, and so on. The other trend we are seeing, and then I get to the end, is up to now or up to a few months, servitization or machine as a service model were looking at the clients. I think that now we are rising the awareness that they could be maybe, let's say at this stage, more useful in the internal side of the company, like the OEM, optimizing production. You talk about some issues that are coming back again because you have been talking about digital twins and let's say and other issue like this, let's say 10 months ago at the beginning, and now they are coming back with strong knowledge than before. And so maybe before or in parallel of going and studying new business models, we have to look inside the companies and try and understand how these technologies, how an efficient use of data can help companies in optimizing saving cost or better producing machine. Digital twin is one of the key issues maybe in the future, because these would help companies maybe not to make a pay-per-use model for all the machines, but at least to be more competitive in a global scenario.
Faster and shorter, time to market, cheaper,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Yeah. Very good, Gianpaolo. Thank you very much. Very important insight, from the industry. And as you said, competition is coming. Today, Europe is representing 2/3 of the machine building in the planet, and that's an asset to safeguard for the future. So competition is up and running.
Yeah.
Very good. Let's move next to Stefano from Tetra Pak.
Ciao.
And, it's very much in the area of capability. And, we have abundance of technologies around. But what are the technical and organizational barriers which limit machine intelligence, and how they can be addressed?
Okay, Paolo. Of course, I'm familiar with the question because it's something we are experiencing today. We are trying to overcome those challenges. I would mention, some of the technical challenges are related to the main concept, bringing intelligence to machines. That seems easy, but it's a journey. So the first thing is, of course, intelligence means that the machine are able to sense deviations, and starting from this sensing of deviation, they need to basically, through data and data analysis and AI, be able to come with root cause, and with root cause then be able to either to feed back the control with adjusting set points, so adapting to the machine is adapting, or using data to create insights to guide operators or humans in avoiding stops or reducing downtime out of a stop. So this is the main concept. And the problem and the technical challenges are coming exactly from the concept itself. First means, increasing sensing and increasing intelligence means moving a lot of functionality or increasing by far the functionality in the software, in the automation area. Because, of course, the sensing, what it means, you have much more number of sensor or control loops to manage. And then you have also the other dimension, the process monitoring with the data to manage, the data to create insight through AI. So that means that we are getting a much more complex software and automation architecture. They need to be developed, orchestrated, life-cycled. And also the quality need to be steady over time. So you need to have, also regression testing at week. It's a really change of paradigm. And this is a big technical challenge. The other one, so for sure, more functionality, more intelligence means more complexity to be handled. And this we need to structure for this. Then the other point is this complexity needs to be hid completely through the AI and the data to create insights. So the operator or the people consuming the machine should just perceive insights or what to do. They shouldn't get to the complexity. As we see for our phones, it's much more complex than what was 20 years ago. And we perceive its quality, it's everything, it's doing what it has to, and you perceive easy, it's easy to work. It's the same thing we need to make it happen for equipment, but it's of course a lot of challenges. The organizational point I would mention is to break the silos, because again, it will be more and more, data engineering working with functional experts, mechanics. So everyone, we need to break the silos to secure, this is happening. And top management need to coach the full organization to secure we don't create unbalanced products that are just architecture and not content. So this is very, very, important to solve the issues.
Thank you, Stefano. Very interesting to see, how the journey is in a way complex, but at the same time, there is understanding on the step, to be taken, to reach, this type of value and capability, going forward. Very good. So let's move now to Riccardo. You've been working for a number of leading machine building companies, very much focusing on services and its business evolution. You heard a little bit also some comment also from Gianpaolo on this one. So my question is, are subscription, usage-based or outcome-driven models, becoming the norm, and how to succeed with them?
Yes, that's really a good question. Good morning, everybody. Paolo. I will talk to you about my personal experience. I would say that I have 30 years international experience in the industrial machinery for big and mid-sized sector, for food processing, packaging, and the textile business. And during this time, I had really the opportunity to deal directly with the evolution of the life cycle of value services. And I will try to put to connect the dots that you explained before together with Thomas, Gianpaolo, and Stefano too. This model, the subscription, the user-based, the outcome-driven model are important reference point. Yes, for sure, these are the trend, but this is still not the norm, for sure. We need to be very cautious on that. I would say that why? Because machine builders are acting in different industries that evolve with different speed. If you look at the example of the automotive, you see that we have done big steps, because in that business, how to say, the industrial development was going very fast, and now we are able to harvest. But in the machinery business, this becomes more and more difficult, because in machinery business, you are connected, you are not put just the full inside the car. So you have to feed the machine, you have to change the product, you have different batch, different, way of produce parts. So, but the real question for the machinery is different. The real question mark is, are machine builders ready to execute this model? This is a big question, I would say. I think that we have three main factors. One is related to the readiness of the industrial sector. For sure, how mature is the market is key. Also, how the customer which are the customer expectation, and how the machine manufacturer want to approach this customer expectation. We know that geographically this can change. From North America and North Europe, the needs are different from the other part of the world. Maybe they are going to close to have subscription, but I would say other geographical area are looking to have, a capex approach. So I need the machine itself. Also, competitor are looking at the competitor, what they're doing. If the competitor ain't going that direction, we need to prepare. It is really, we need to have a vision. We need to have a business overview on how things are moving. And today, things are moving very fast. Second point, the readiness of the equipment portfolio. Stefano and you talk about a lot of things that we can embark on the machine. This is really, I would say, designed to serve approach that a company has to keep. This is a sort of important pillar, no? Strategy behind the machine, which kind of technology we need to embark on the machine. Sometimes we embark too much technology on the machine, and we are not able to harvest in the field, both from the company itself, but also from the customer. Third point is the readiness of the service organization. And this is really where, based on my experience, where many transformations succeed or fail. Why? Because even if you have an intelligent machine available with a lot of information, has the OEM the capabilities to support all this technology? This is really, just to give you an example, install base visibility, spare parts availability, remote support, execution in the field, etc. So the trend of this model is not only a simply pricing innovation, it is an industrial readiness topic. Having this industrial readiness topic means that we need to build an ecosystem around the machine. And this ecosystem has three key building blocks, I would say. Strategy, which is the to-be service portfolio. This is the way that we need to imagine our future, 3-5 years, okay, in terms of business model, service to scale, execution process, organization, spare parts logistic, documentation too. Second point is the service organization that is able to execute. Lifecycle value is completely different from a reactive service. Lifecycle value means that you are more close with the customer. You are exposing company to risk. So you need to be very close. You need to organize yourself in a way that you are able to run this kind of service contract. Third point is the one that is federating the two before, is the digital infrastructure. Because the digital infrastructure is, for example, a CRM that can be, the install base, the ticketing, everything, all the information regarding the customers. The remote infrastructure that you talked before is really important, teleservice, and good data. And a portal, for sure, to sell parts. It can be one entry point for customers. And now, really, the AI level, the AI layer that has to run on good data. These are really the mix, the third point. So just to come to the conclusion, I would say that market positioning is the starting point. The second pillar is to have intelligent machine. But the third one, that is the more risky, is to generate the life cycle value, is really to have the service execution, the digital infrastructure, and a service portfolio that has to be perceived as a value for customers. So not one-shot change. It is really a transformation program that you have to set in your company. Big company has started this transition long time ago. Okay, the not best-in-class company has to start now. There are some advantages to start now, because now they have a lot of digital layers that are available that you can implement in your organization to support this kind of transition.
Very good, Riccardo. Thank you very much. Very interesting, to see also another angle of the complexity of the journey. But as we've heard also today, the necessity to go through and to have really a strategy, be conscious of a journey, and where you start, acknowledge really your starting point, to take step in a consistent way. Probably, it's not a question to have one size fit all on this one, but really, to accommodate on this one. But let me go a little bit on the closing now. I think, one of the things which we can say, is
Paolo, sorry to interrupt you. Before you close, we have one important topic from our audience. They said, so I received a comment here in the chat window. So we should not forget the importance of data and digital twin to really improve and check the performance of the plants. I think this is one takeaway, and I think we all fully agree with that. That is important. And that could be one takeaway, maybe can be integrated in one of the future webcasts to cover this more in detail. So sorry for that, but I think it was important.
No, thank you, Thomas. I saw the comment on this, and I think, is a key. We are actually planning, to be, very much focused on a webinar on the story of digital twin. I think, in general, what we have seen at the ARC European Forum this year, but also very much reiterated today by, the different, contribution and so on in today's panel, is very clear. Machine builders are not only any longer competing on the pure, mechanical machine or performance of the machine, but there is a shifting moving to intelligence, lifecycle value, and measure of outcome, connected to the stages of transformation that the company need to go through. And I think industry will learn more on this evolution. ARC has many elements already identified as a shared. Already we have a series of webinars in front of us, which we have planned to reiterate with some of this topic. And stay tuned with ARC. We will do our best really to bring value to the industry as much as possible. And last, before closing, let me share few information for the audience where you can get more. We have several options here at the ARC really to deliver information. Take, for example, the ARC Industry Forum platform that we ran this year. If you go there, you find what was presented in machine builder, but also from the other industry, which are going through the current type of issue. But you can also enjoy industry talks, or comfortably select your webinars through the YouTube channel, and other form of update information. You can get it from LinkedIn, so instant update as the news are coming, or subscribing to the free newsletter that we have available at ARC. So with this one, I would like to thank you all the contributors in today's session. Really appreciate your views, and also Anne-Catherine, which is in the background, helping us with all the Zoom preparation and support in marketing. With that, we close here. Thank you very much, and looking forward to the next session. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
So,